Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chill English. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Johnny. Welcome to the podcast where we learn English by talking about fascinating, real-world topics. We try to keep things relaxed so you can just listen, enjoy, and pick up some new vocabulary along the way.
Exactly. We know that learning a language can sometimes feel like a lot of work. But here, we just want to have a nice chat. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, and let's get started.
What are we talking about today, Alicia?
Well, today's topic is a little bit deep, but it's something every single human being deals with. We are talking about choices. And not just simple choices, like what to eat for breakfast, but big life choices.
Making choices. That can be really difficult. Sometimes I stand in the supermarket for 10 minutes just trying to choose a type of bread.
Right? We have all been there. But today, we are going deeper. I read a really interesting article recently from a magazine called Aeon. The article is titled, "The Anguish of Choice."
Anguish. That is a great word for our B1 learners. Anguish means a very strong feeling of stress, worry, or mental pain. So, the mental pain of making choices.
Yes, exactly. The article explores the ideas of a famous French philosopher named Jean-Paul Sartre. Back in 1945, he gave a very famous lecture in Paris called Existentialism is a Humanism. The Aeon article talks about how Sartre's ideas from 1945 are still so important for us today.
Let's see. 1945. That is right at the end of the Second World War, right?
Yes, Paris had just been freed from occupation. The war was over, but the city, and really all of Europe, was heavily damaged. People were confused. They had lost so much, and they had to figure out how to rebuild their lives and their society.
Wow. That is a very intense time to give a lecture about life and meaning. So, what did Sartre actually say? Let's break it down for our listeners. First of all, the word existentialism. It sounds very long and complicated.
It does, it's a big word. But the basic idea is actually quite simple. Sartre believed in one main rule: existence comes before essence.
Okay, existence comes before essence. Let's explain that. Existence just means being alive, being in the world. But what did he mean by essence?
So, essence is the purpose or the design of something. In the lecture, Sartre used an example. Imagine a tool, like a knife. Before someone makes a knife, they have an idea of what it is. They know its purpose, to cut things.
Right. The knife has a plan. Its essence, its purpose, comes first. Then, the person makes the knife. So for the knife, essence comes before existence.
Exactly. But Sartre said that human beings are the complete opposite. For us, existence comes first. We are born, we just arrive in the world. And when we are born, we have no built-in purpose. There is no plan for us.
So we exist first, and then we have to create our own essence. We have to decide who we are.
Yes, and we do that through our choices. We are not born as good people or bad people. We are not born to be doctors or artists. We become those things because of the choices we make every single day.
Well, that sounds really beautiful, actually. It sounds like total freedom. You can be whatever you want to be.
It does sound great, But this is where the article from Aeon gets really interesting. Sartre said that this total freedom is actually very heavy. He famously said, "Man is condemned to be free."
Condemned? That is a strong word. We usually say a criminal is condemned to prison. Why would someone be condemned to freedom?
Because we cannot escape it. You have no choice but to make choices. Even if you say, "I am not going to choose," well, you just made a choice. You chose to do nothing.
I see. And because we have total freedom, it means we also have total responsibility.
Exactly. That is the core of the mental pain, the anguish that the Aeon article talks about. If I have total freedom to create my life, then I am 100% responsible for my life. I cannot blame anyone else.
That is tough. It is very common for human beings to want to blame other things when life goes wrong. We want to say, oh, I didn't get that job because the universe didn't want me to have it, or I am unhappy because my parents didn't give me enough support.
Right. Or even just blaming the economy or bad luck. But Sartre said no. There is no destiny. There is no script written for you. You are writing the script right now. If you don't like your life, you are the only one who can change it.
That causes a lot of anxiety. I mean, think about modern life. Today, we have more choices than people had in 1945.
Oh, absolutely. Think about our careers. 100 years ago, you probably just did the same job your parents did. You didn't have to choose. Now, you can study anything. You can work anywhere in the world.
And think about technology. We have so much information. We can choose to live in different ways, meet different kinds of people online, even entertainment. Sometimes I spend 40 minutes looking at Netflix because there are too many movies to choose from.
The famous Netflix scroll? Yes, that is a very modern, very small example of the anguish of choice. When you have 1,000 movies to choose from, you feel stressed. You think, what if I pick the wrong one and waste 2 hours of my life?
Now, then find that feeling, but applied to your whole life. What if I marry the wrong person? What if I choose the wrong university? What if I take the wrong job?
Yes, and because you are totally responsible, if you make a mistake, it's all on you. This is why Sartre's ideas from so long ago are still so relevant today. The Aeon article points out that we are drowning in choices. We want freedom, but freedom is exhausting.
So, how do people deal with this exhaustion? Do we just walk around feeling stressed all the time?
Well, Sartre noticed that most people don't want to feel this anguish. So, they lie to themselves. They pretend they don't have a choice. Sartre called this bad faith.
Bad faith. Let's give our B1 learners an example of this.
Okay, imagine a person who works in a very boring, terrible job. They hate it. They complain every day. But if you ask them, why don't you quit? They will say, I can't. I have to pay my bills. I have no choice.
Ah, but they do have a choice. They could quit, even if it means being poor for a while. They could move to a cheaper city. They could find a new job.
Exactly. Saying I have no choice is bad faith. It is a lie we tell ourselves to escape the stress of our freedom. It is easier to believe we are trapped than to admit we have the power to blow up our lives and start over.
That is so true. I mean, we all do this sometimes, right? Even with small things, like, I had to eat that whole cake. It was my birthday.
Yes. Or, I couldn't help being angry. That's just my personality. Sartre would say, no, your personality isn't a fixed thing. You are choosing to be angry in this moment.
Wow, he was very strict. He really didn't let anyone make excuses.
He didn't. And some people back then thought his philosophy was very dark and depressing. They thought, if there is no destiny, no grand plan, and I am all alone making these heavy choices, life is just sad.
But the title of his lecture was Existentialism is a Humanism. Our last vocabulary word is humanism. Usually, humanism is a positive word. It means valuing human beings and believing in our power to do good.
Exactly. And that was the whole point of Sartre's lecture. He was defending his philosophy. He said, "You think this is depressing? No, this is the most optimistic idea in the world."
Because it gives us total power?
Right. If you have no pre-written destiny, it means your future is wide open. You are not trapped by your past. You are not trapped by your mistakes. Every new morning is a blank page. You can wake up and choose to be a different person today.
That is actually very beautiful. It's like being a painter, and your life is the canvas. Nobody is telling you what to paint.
Yes, the Aeon article explains this so well. It says that Sartre's existentialism is a call to action. It tells us to stop waiting for someone else to save us. We have to save ourselves.
And think about why that message was so important in 1945. Europe was destroyed. If people just sat around and said, "It is destiny, there is nothing we can do," they would never rebuild. Sartre was telling them, "Get up. You are free. Take responsibility and build a new world."
Exactly. And now, think about our world today. We face huge problems: climate change, political divisions, the rise of artificial intelligence. It is very easy to feel helpless.
It really is, especially with technology. Sometimes it feels like algorithms make all our choices for us. The algorithm tells us what news to read, what music to listen to, what products to buy, right?
Right. And if Sartre were alive today, he would probably be warning us about that. He would say that letting a computer make your choices is the ultimate bad faith. We are handing our freedom over to a machine response because we don't want the responsibility of choosing.
That is a very powerful thought. Taking back our choices, being mindful of what we actually want to do, instead of just following the crowd or the internet.
Yeah, reading this article really made me look at my own life. It made me ask myself, where am I pretending that I don't have a choice?
Me too. I think a lot of us feel trapped by our routines. We wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, sleep, and we say, "This is just how life is."
But it's not. We choose that routine every single day, and just realizing that we have the power to change it, it can be scary, it brings that anguish, but it is also the key to real freedom.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation, Alicia. It is amazing how a lecture from French philosopher over 80 years ago can still feel so fresh and important right now.
I know, right? Good philosophy never really gets old. It just asks questions about the human experience, and those questions stay the same.
Before we finish today, let's quickly review the vocabulary words we highlighted for our B1 learners. The first one was anguish.
Yes, anguish. A strong feeling of mental pain, stress, or worry. The heavy feeling you get when you have to make a big, difficult choice.
Next, we had existentialism.
Existentialism is a philosophy that believes human beings are totally free. There is no destiny or grand plan. We exist first, and then we create our own meaning through our choices.
Our third word was essence.
Essence is the basic nature or design of a thing, the purpose it was created for. Remember, Sartre said that for a tool like a knife, essence comes first, but for humans, existence comes first.
And our last word was humanism.
Humanism is a way of thinking that focuses on human power and potential. It believes that humans have the ability to solve problems and create good lives without needing an outside force to tell them what to do.
Great definitions. If you want to remember these words, try making your own aim of sentences with them today.
Well, that is all the time we have for this episode. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the anguish of choice. Thank you for listening to Chill English.
Keep practicing, keep making good choices, and we will catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.